Well, the spring and summer months are typically the busiest time for those arranging to move their household belongings to a new home. Many of us hire a moving company to make things a little bit easier, but unfortunately, sometimes we run into unscrupulous operators that are ready to take advantage of consumers who are under stress. Joining us today to offer some advice on how to avoid these kinds of troubles is Riemann, Marketplace Trust Representative with the Southern Alberta branch of the Better Business Bureau. Ron, welcome to the show. Good to have you on today.
Thanks for having me, Jeanette. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Ron, is it extremely rare for people to run into mover fraud in Alberta, or does this happen more often than we think it does?
Unfortunately, May is a busy month for the Better Business Bureau, and a lot of times this can be avoided in terms of stress and turmoil for the impending move if the consumer does his or her own homework. And when I say that, research is the biggest thing that consumers can take away from their move. It could be a smooth ride, so to speak, or it could be a rough, bumpy ride.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm curious as to how the fraud actually takes place. So I'm told that sometimes a mover can actually hold your belongings hostage, so to speak. So how does this happen?
Well, let's backtrack a little bit and let's say, for
Yeah.
example, you're ready for your move. You make a phone call, and because it's all about convenience, and unfortunately, pandemic has left us sometimes to go that route for the phone call. The phone call is done within 15 or 20 minutes, but there's really a lot of holes in that within that conversation with the price, with how much you're being charged. Day and time, location, all that stuff that's usually handled within a contract itself. So you make the move, and then what happens the day of, the movers show up to your door, and the move is by the movers. They don't have the signs, or it's a blank information on the truck, and also there's also movers that are not licensed nor experienced. So they ask for a deposit up front, which I can get to that in a little bit later. So your move is now being taken care of by this company who's got your belongings, and now they're off to go to your destination. When you arrive at the destination, however, there seems to be a snag because either they want more money, and they're not going to release um, the items that you've got in your vehicle. And unfortunately, they can do it two ways. We can either have to pay them, or you have to get them in storage where they're going to dump off the stuff. So I guess the whole summary to this explanation I'm trying to say is call a reputable moving company, and get three quotes. Get three quotes from them, because there are a lot of really good moving companies out there who will come into your home, and they will actually do a virtual meeting with you to talk and discuss. And they're very good at what they do, and spend the extra few dollars to get the move done right.
Yeah, the idea of having your furniture held hostage is kind of terrifying a little bit
Very
because
terrifying. It is very terrifying. It certainly is.
yeah. Now, another way that fraudulent moving companies try to take advantage, from what we've been told, is to try to avoid that written contract that you were just talking about. So, what are the potential problems with this?
Well, first off, let's go back to the deposit itself. Reputable companies will not charge anything up front. If they do, it's a very small fee. If you get moving companies that charge 25%, I'm leery about that. Certainly anything more than 50%, you have zero control at that point. You have no control. And in fact, if you do want to make sure that you do have the information, a paper trail of the deposit, make sure it's through the credit card company, so that you can always go back and see if you can dispute that. But getting back to the reputable companies, they won't charge a deposit. They'll ask for the money at the end of the delivery. And a lot of times, everything is detailed out in the contract. The if it's a local move, it's based on an hourly thing. If it's a long-term move, you have to kind of like scope it out over a long period of time, and it's based on weight distribution. So there's a calculation that the moving companies do in regards to that. Make your move a lot simpler by having them talk about items that you're going to take yourself, as opposed to letting the moving company touch them. And we recommend that if there's some things that you feel you just don't feel comfortable with moving companies touch them, by all means take them with you. But for the most part, moving companies have a really, really good plan in place in making sure that the contract is rock solid.
Right. Sounds good. Now, we were talking a little bit, maybe talk a little bit more about these fly by night movers. And you'd mentioned these people that just kind of show up with an unmarked rental truck rather than a clearly marked company owned fleet truck. That should raise big red flags, right?
There's always a red flag when you deal with something like this. You're right. It's an unmarked van. They'll do all their work by a laptop between the two seats in their cargo van. There's always a sense of urgency. They want the deposit right away, and because moving deals with a limited window of time, and there is a sense of urgency on the consumer's part, it's attractive to the consumer to say, hey, this person is going to get me out of a jam, and this person is going to make sure that my move is going to be run smoothly. And that's not always the case, obviously. Again, the deposit's going to be very high. You've lost zero control at that point. And sometimes the move will not be perfect. You'll probably get a lot of bumps and bruises with your furniture. Again, it could be held hostage because they'll want more money because, well, we thought the weight amount was going to be this, when in fact it's actually this. So we need a little bit more money. And if there's no contract to state that, it's just one person's word against another, and then you're on the hook for an extra few, unfortunately, few $1,000s at that
Right.
case. So
Yeah. So just watch for those sketchy business practices, right?
it's always important to make sure that you get insurance, and talk to your policy owner, policy insurance holder. Maybe they can help you and see what sort of coverage do I have. It's always good to know that reputable moving companies have their basic insurance as part of the move. We recommend that if you can afford it, get some extra insurance. And so it's kind of like rock solid if something is busted or broken, or it's probably not, it failed to be part of the trip, or it's good to have the insurance. So certainly having insurance is really important. And again, insurance companies of your own will have that, but talk to the reputable companies. They'll have the insurance coverage for you as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice to get that moving insurance. So, of course, you mentioned there are many reputable moving companies across Lethbridge and across the province and, of course, the country as well. But then, then you get these bad guys that they'll attempt to represent themselves as one of these reputable companies. How does this even happen?
It's pretty darn easy, Jeanette, to actually start up a business, and you've got a cargo van, you've got two, three guys that are willing to move a lot of it, stuff, come up with a great website. You can claim to be a member of the Better Business Bureau or the Canadian Association of Movers. You can actually say whatever you want to say on your website. And that's where the stickiness comes into play, because at that point, we tell consumers, well, all websites are not, I shouldn't say all, I should say some websites need a little bit more homework. And that's where we come into play, the Better Business Bureau, in association with the Canadian Association of Movers. They have a great directory, and we have a great uh, plethora of information about businesses that are they local? Do they have insurance? Is there a physical location? Will I know for sure that when the van shows up the morning of, it's going to have the company information on the side of the vehicle? Are these professional movers? Are they trained to move big or small jobs? So it's, I get, you read all the stories, you see all the stories as well. And one of the big things when a lot of consumers who are frauded by moving companies wish they could take back was that they had done their homework earlier. They did a little bit more research. Research is the most important key through this whole thing.
Absolutely. Now, apparently, some of these companies will actually use fake Google reviews. So, is there a way to spot that?
We noticed that if you see a dozen to 2 dozen reviews, and they seem to have a bit of a trend that there's always 5 stars, and it seems to be worded the same way, it's a fake review. Most companies would like to think that they're always going to get 5 stars, and most reputable companies will always have that 5 star review. But there, if you get the odd 1 or 2 or 3 star review mixed in too, then you know that there's a little bit of um, credibility in the reviews itself. But notice the wording in the review itself: 5 stars all the time, and that if it's the same explanation or it's the same amount of wordage in that review, then it's not always a true review in itself.
Now, you had mentioned that people can contact the Better Business Bureau, or of course, the Canadian Association of Movers member directly to check out your mover first. So, how do people do that? Where can they go for that?
Certainly, they can come to our website at bbb.org, and we can help you with information about any mover in the southern Alberta and East Kootenays region, and we can help you with that. And we can tell you if they're licensed. We can tell you how long they've been in operation. We can tell you their letter grade. We can tell you if there's any complaints, and we can tell you if they're going to get the job done from the information that's on their business profile on our website. The Canadian Association of Movers has a wonderful directory where you can touch base with their website, and you'll know that these businesses are members of this actual mover site, Canadian Association of Movers, and they pay a fee. And so these are reputable, very good movers that are on this website here, and they can actually go to the Canadian Association of Movers website. I don't have their website information offhand, but if you just type it in the search bar, you'll be able to find it.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, if you do have a bad experience with a moving company, how can you actually go about filing a complaint?
With a complaint against the moving company itself, you have 60 days to file a claim against the moving company. If you feel you want to take it to the next level, so to speak, you can contact us at the Better Business Bureau, again, bbb.org. If you feel that you're justified and to file a complaint and you feel you've got no resolution from the moving company itself, then we encourage you to go to our website. And again, if it's also with a reputable mover within the Canadian Association of Movers, or if you want to talk to them for that matter, go talk to them as well. They'll be able to help you too. And we want to help as much as we can to make your move really smooth.
Awesome. So, any last piece of advice for those who live in Lethbridge? Well, especially because we're so windy here, right? So, maybe strap down your stuff if you're moving in an open trailer, or so it doesn't blow away in our
That's a
crazy winds.
you hit the nail right on the head,
Yeah.
Jeanette. That's exactly right. To make sure everything is strapped down and make sure that you know exactly what you've got on your contract, have everything detailed out. Wouldn't it be a bad idea to actually take some pictures of some of the stuff that is going in that impending move? And then you've got some video information as well. Have an itemized list. Give a copy of that list to the mover. Exactly. And they'll have a copy of it. Don't forget about the insurance. That's always important. And make sure it's, again, a reputable company. Pay the extra little bit of money to get the move done right. And there's certainly a lot of great companies out there. Do your homework, get 3 quotes, and you'll be surprised how stress free rather your move will actually be.
Awesome. That is some a great piece of advice. Thanks so much, Ron, for being with us today. Ron Riemann is the Marketplace Trust Representative with the Southern Alberta branch of the Better Business Bureau.
Thanks, Jeanette. I've enjoyed it. Thank you again.